You know something, for those of you who are actually loyal viewers, the 5 of you, I used to have 3, now I have 5. You know my reviews do not change. They are holier than the Bible. They are more so set in stone than anything that which you can imagine. I do sometimes have regrets looking at you, Super 8, and just about anything J.J. Abrams has touched. But I don't change my opinion. It is very important that you lay it down on the ground for everyone to see and you stick by it. I'm not changing my review of Fear Street, but I had some very polite commenters ask me to go ahead and finish watching the movie. I watched part 1, I watched part 2, and I watched part 3. And you know what? They got better. They did, but I still have so many issues with them. I don't really feel inclined to regret my statement thus far. I feel like director Leigh, don't know how to pronounce your last name. She's doing one of the Duffer douches, so I think I know how she got this gig. And isn't that something, how we just kind of recruit in people from the Stranger Things? Oh, we got Ethan Hawke's ugly daughter, we got the Ginger, and who else in the Netflix ecosystem's available? Gillian Jacobs, who, by the way, I think has a crush on me. I don't know. Should I date Gillian Jacobs? She's kind of old. Let me know in the comments below. Be sure you smash that like button, subscribe, ring the bell, all that stuff. I gotta wonder what was going on with this series here. It's shot back to back to back, although you can't have backs and back. You have one back and then that back to back to back. How do you really say that? Leigh was clearly learning on the job as a director. The musical cues, the sound effects, and just the transition between scenes, the way things meshed in the first film is just so far off. It reminds me of a short film. Now, I was an indie film festival programmer for 10 years. I've seen some shorts in my day. It's very hard to pull off actual horror in a short. It always plays up the musical cues. Da-na, wa-na, ka-ching, ka-ching. Every time someone shows that Ruby Lane shows her scissors, ka-ching. Every time an axe hits somebody, there is so much metal on metal abuse for things that should be bone crunching sounds. I've never seen that used to this extent. We're possibly 1,000 times within 3 movies. It's that bad. But we are using music from like 1997, White Town, Your Woman. In 1994, we have AIM, AOL Instant Messenger sound effects for AOL chat rooms in 1994. This Leigh chick, she's a couple years older than me. She should remember 1994 pretty well. Evidently she doesn't. But anyhow, look at the way the scenes are structured. They're just there to lead to the next song to play. This is abused most in 1994, then in the sequel, the 70s, but not so much in 1666, as what music are you going to play, eh? But even then, we have too much of the jump scare, da-na-na, suspense, chime. It's like, come on, just get on with it. I felt that the characters in the first film were a bit tacky and annoying. We have the faded lesbian relationship. Oh no, we knew that was going to happen, right? Oh, because we have to work that in. It's Netflix, right? Everything, there's got to be lesbians somewhere. Is there a Netflix thing going that doesn't have lesbians in it? Let me know in the comments below. I'd be surprised. And they go through all these efforts to save them while also misinterpreting this Sarah Fear curse. And I thought that was actually okay in the fact that it seemed like we're building towards making sense of this. In the 70s, we have basically an 80s camper slasher film. It's very much the second Friday the 13th, because eventually the guy even gets a bag over his head. I didn't feel like we were going out of our way to make the pop culture references to the extent of Stranger Things, wherein they essentially ripped off so many things they can't be accused of plagiarism. It's just, here's 1,000 homages. What did we steal? Huh? We didn't steal your story because we stole all of those stories, right? So you can't accuse us of stealing just yours. I felt like it was fairly original, and I got into it. I felt like the characters were believable. They had sass about them. And still, it doesn't quite make sense, because you got this gal, Gillian Jacobs, telling the story to these kids. They're like, what are we doing wrong? How come some of my friends died? I thought we did everything right. Let me tell you the story of how I survived. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. My sister died. Wait a minute, you're Ziggy? When you tell a story, look, my name's Vaughn. I don't say, and then Vaughn opened the door, and my sister Jill was over there. No, I'd be like, so then I opened the door, my sister, oh yeah, well, because I'm Vaughn. Yeah, you say I, right? They should have figured this shit out. That shouldn't be a surprise. To try to leave that as a reveal is just stupid, and it insults the intelligence of the viewers, frankly. Who are the viewers here? I guess teens nowadays get to hear all the cursing they want, so it's in things aimed at them. Weird enough to think an R.L. Stine book series goes this route, though I never read Fear Street. I had some goosebumps. Read the first one, that's about it, to be honest with you. But those things were collected almost like Pogs back in the day. You had them, but you maybe didn't necessarily do anything with them. We get to the third film, and as soon as we get into the flashback to 1666, everything is much better. We have all the recurring cast back playing role. You get the sense that it's not too weird. We have a black kid over here, no one's persecuted. They're just standing in as these characters, so that the girl, Dina, experiences Sarah Fear's story, finally. Though if Sarah Fear had this power, she probably should have been more forthright with it. At any rate, I thought that this was actually really good. The music worked way better here. We didn't have too much of a pop culture influx of let's throw in some songs we like. There was time to breathe, the story was making sense, the performances were stronger. There was an actual concerted effort to have 1666 appropriate dialogue. Something you didn't really hear in Prey, where people were like talking with the inflection of, oh my god. And it's like, I don't think they talked like that back then. Granted, I'm not Comanche, but I've seen The Last Mohicans and shit. I thought that there was actually a pretty good effort here, and you have the good motivation. Well, the motivation of Good. This guy, Good, he jilted lover, another lesbian quarrel thing over here. Oh no, tragic lesbian story. Sees his gal run off with another gal, sets her up as this witch, things escalate, hand gets cut off. It's pretty gruesome. And she's hung, but you never heard about this other girl being a witch, because she was, I tricked her, I clouded her mind and all this, but before I die, I'm going to say I'm going to haunt you forever and all that. I understand that. What I don't get is, why would Good's lineage, the first son, inherit this necessity to sacrifice the Shadysiders to prop up Sunnyvale? And this does what exactly? Oh, you used all this witchcraft to give yourself power so you could be sheriff. Being sheriff isn't that impressive. You can win a small town sheriff election pretty damn easily. So, is it worth sacrificing kids? And they're killing who? They're going after the people that conflicted with the Sarah Fear blood? Except when they're not, when that's not prudent. You can't tell me that the checked out receptionist at the hospital stood up to the killer and said, no, you're not going in there. She would be like, yeah, visiting hours are closed. Oh, you're not here anymore? Oh, okay. That's about all that would have went down. So I don't really understand how they're trying to explain this. It just strikes me as a bunch of plot holes. The ultimate conclusion was thrilling enough. I'm somewhat glad that I went ahead and took your guys' suggestion and stuck with it, though there's just way too many issues for me to really recommend 3 movies of questionable quality with a spat of actual solid work near the end. Is it worth the payoff? Especially when you see all the plot holes at the end here, right? That's Fear Street. Oh, we're going to set this up for another trilogy soon, because it's an IP Netflix could get.
You just watched a video from my son. He's about 40 and lives in my basement, ladies. So subscriber, and notify the bell for ringing.
Okay, I said what you wanted me to say. Now do the goddamn dishes.